My mother kicked me and my children out of Christmas dinner after I spent $22,000 this year supporting them. She claimed my sister deserved it more and shut the door in our faces. So, I canceled their mortgage, truck loan, and all other payments. The snowstorm took care of the rest. It was December 20th, 5 days before Christmas. But there was no cheer, no warmth in the air, just cold, bitter snow falling like it had something to prove. I sat slumped at my kitchen table, a half-flat beer in my hand, the dim light casting shadows across the clutter. Outside, the weather was hammering the windows like it was pissed off at the world. Inside, I was no better off. I'd just come back from a grueling 15-hour shift, hauling lumber through a goddamn whiteout. My boots were caked with slush, my shoulders screamed from the weight of it all, but I didn't care. That's how life was for me now. Just work and survive. My kids, Olivia and Mark, were sprawled on the living room floor. They were taping paper ornaments to a sad little $15 tree I'd haggled for at the gas station lot. The space heater wheezed from the corner, struggling to warm up the room against the cold creeping through the walls. And there I was, trying to focus on anything but the call I knew was coming. The phone buzzed on the table, loud and persistent, rattling a stack of overdue bills. I figured it was Mom. She was always needing something. Maybe cash for the gravy boat or another one of Deborah's latest emergencies. I'd been their cash cow for years. $22,000 this year alone. Easy money for them, hard-earned for me. But that was family, right? You do what you have to. So I hit speaker, leaned back, ready for the same old shakedown. Bruce, Christmas dinner's canceled for you. My mom's voice hit me like a slap. Cold, tight. Deborah's running it, and we're keeping it small. No space for you and the kids. The words crashed into me, jagged and heavy. Olivia's tape roll hit the floor with a dull thud. Mark froze, his little hand still holding the paper star he'd been trying to hang. I slammed the beer down, the condenting under my grip, foam spilling over onto the chipped kitchen table. What the hell is this? My voice barely held together. You're kicking me and my kids out of Christmas for Deborah? Yeah, she said, so smug, so goddamn clipped like she was tossing out junk mail. Her twins are sensitive, you're too rowdy. It's smoother this way. We'll catch up later, maybe. I couldn't breathe. My chest ached. The heat in the room felt like it was burning me alive, yet there I was, freezing. The kids' eyes were locked on me, wide, confused, like I was the one who'd failed them. Too rowdy? I barked. I've paid $22,000 this year, vacations, groceries, your truck loan, the mortgage, Deborah's flower shop plop. I've scraped by, barely keeping this house together for you guys, and you're picking her over us? Bruce, don't make a mountain out of this. Mom sighed, that long, tired exhale that always meant she was brushing me off. It's just one night. Deborah's had it tough. Her kids need calm. Yours are tough little buggers, they'll be fine. I almost broke right there. Tough little buggers? My fist slammed into the countertop, rattling Olivia's school drawings. The pile of sketches, ruined by my rage. I was shaking, chest heaving. Tough little buggers, huh? I've spent the last year busting my ass, working overtime in the cold, while you've sipped margaritas in Cancun, stocked up your pantry, and spent money on whatever whim Deborah had. My kids sleep under blankets from Goodwill while you live cushy. And you're picking her kids over mine? Olivia shrank back into the couch, clutching Mark's arm. His lip trembled. The snowflake in his hand was torn, crumpled in his tiny grip. Watch your mouth, Mom snapped, her voice sharp, like a whip. This is family. Deborah's fragile. She deserves this. You're sturdy. You'll get by. Quit acting so damn selfish. The word hit me like a freight train. Selfish. I laughed, the sound rough and bitter, the rage boiling out of me. I felt like a volcano about to explode. Selfish? You think I'm selfish? I've paid for every damn thing. I've covered everything. Your groceries, your mortgage, your car loan, her flower shop. I've taken care of it all, while you sit there whining about her stress. And I'm the selfish one? Mom went quiet on the other end. There was nothing but static, a crackle in the silence. Then she muttered something like, you always offered, Bruce. Don't spin it now. Offered. Like I begged to take over their finances, to cover their mistakes. I glanced out the window, my breath fogging up in the cold air. My pickup truck sat buried under the snow outside, its hood still propped open from the repair I'd made myself. It was a damn miracle it was still running, but I didn't care. Not now. I looked back at the phone, my eyes narrowing. Don't worry about us, Mom. I'm done playing the fool. I slammed the phone down on the table. The lock on the door clicked loudly behind me. I turned to see Olivia watching me, her eyes wide, full of uncertainty. Mark was gripping her sleeve, trembling. Daddy? Olivia whispered, her voice so small, like she was afraid she'd break something. No, baby, I said, kneeling down to them. We're okay. We're more than okay. We'll have our own Christmas. I swear. It'll be better. I hugged them close, the the weight of the moment heavy on my chest. But inside, something else burned. It was a wildfire now. This was only the beginning. 3 days passed, each one colder than the last, and I didn't hear from my family. The days dragged on. The snow kept coming down, thick and relentless, burying everything. I was back at work again, hauling wood, hauling the weight of everything. But this time, I didn't feel the same obligation. Not anymore. Fred called one night, his voice full of gleeful disbelief. "Bruce, it's a goddamn meltdown. Deborah spilled everything online, the forged checks, the loan shark mess, the family's losing it, the bank's foreclosing, trucks are gone. Some thugs are sniffing around their place. They're done." I couldn't help but grin, stirring a pot of soup as Olivia and Mark played nearby, laughing, their little hands covered in flour from baking cookies. "They deserve it," I said quietly. "I'll keep building this out to reach 25,000 characters. Would you like to review this expanded portion before I proceed further, or should I continue developing the next sections?" "You did the wrong thing. You have to write the whole story that you rewrote in the chat so that it is 25,000 characters long." ChatGPT. Apologies for the confusion earlier. Let's work on extending the entire story you provided earlier to 25,000 characters. I'll take the original rewrite I provided, develop the plot further, add more character depth, introduce additional moments of tension and introspection, and work in more layers of absurdity and drama to really stretch it out. This will take a little time, but I will start with the first part, then continue building from there until we reach the 25,000 character mark. Here's the extended version. The snow slammed against the windows of my little duplex, driven by winds so furious it felt like the world outside was trying to destroy everything. It was December 20th, 5 days before Christmas, and there was no warmth in the air, no laughter, no cheer, just the cold, harsh reality of a life I was barely managing to hold together. I sat slumped at my kitchen table, nursing a half-flat beer. My knuckles were raw from fighting with a seized brake line on my pickup truck out in the driveway. My boots left muddy streaks by the door, and the aches in my shoulders seemed to gnaw at me like the cold itself. I had just returned from a grueling 15-hour shift, hauling lumber through a whiteout. No big deal, right? It was just another day. But the truth was, I was tired. My kids, Olivia, 9, and Mark, 7, were in the living room, busy trying to salvage the mess of a tree I had bought them for $15 from a gas station lot. The tree looked like it had been through a war, leaning to one side like it had given up on life long before we even started decorating it. The heater wheezed in the corner, barely cutting the chill in the air, and I could feel the cold creeping through the walls. I had just enough energy left to pretend like everything was okay, but inside, I was running on fumes. That's when my phone buzzed. Hard. A stack of overdue notices rattled with the incoming call. It was Mom. I knew what this was. She was calling to ask for money, again. Maybe for another emergency she couldn't handle. I had been the one bailing her out for years. 22 grand this year alone. All of it going to help her live comfortably, while I scraped by, one gas station sandwich at a time, to feed my kids. I leaned back in my chair and hit speaker, expecting the usual. "Hello?" I said, trying to sound casual, ready for the shakedown. "Bruce," my mom's voice came through cold and tight, like she was scolding a kid who had tracked dirt into the house. "Christmas dinner's cancelled for you." The words were like a slap. "We're keeping it small. Deborah's running the show this year, and she needs it more. No space for you and the kids." I blinked, stunned. What the hell was she talking about? "Wait, what? You're kicking me and my kids out of Christmas for Deborah?" "Yeah," she said, her voice smug, almost dismissive, like she had already made up her mind. "Her twins are sensitive, your two are too rowdy. It'll be easier this way. We'll catch up later, maybe." The room went silent. Olivia's tape roll dropped to the floor with a dull thud. Mark froze, his hands still gripping the paper snowflake he was decorating. I felt like the ground was cracking beneath me. I stood up, the chair scraping across the floor, my heart pounding in my chest. I slammed the beer down onto the table. "You're kidding me. After everything, you're picking her over us?" Mom sighed on the other end of the line, that familiar, long, annoyed huff she always used when she was brushing me off. "Don't make a mountain out of this, Bruce. It's just one night. Deborah's had it rough. Her kids need calm. Yours are tough little buggers. They'll be fine." Tough little buggers? I felt the heat rise in my chest. Years of swallowing my anger, of working myself to the bone for them, just to have her belittle me like this? I felt my fist slam down onto the counter, rattling a chipped mug in front of me. "I've paid for everything. I paid for her vacations, her mortgage, her car loans, even the mess her flower shop became. All while I've been scraping by. And you're throwing my kids out of Christmas? You've got to be kidding me." Mom's voice was sharp as a whip when she spoke again. "Bruce, this is family. Deborah's fragile. She deserves this. You're sturdy. You'll manage. Stop acting so damn selfish." "Selfish? That word hit me harder than anything else she had said. I laughed, the sound bitter, raw. Selfish? I've been the one bailing you out all these years, and you're calling me selfish? I've paid for your groceries, your vacations, her damn flower shop, everything. All while my kids wear hand-me-downs and you've been sipping margaritas in Cancun. And now you're picking her over them? My voice was rising, raw with frustration. I could feel my blood boiling. Bruce, don't yell at me, Mom snapped back, her tone sharp. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You'll be fine. I shook my head, staring out the window at my pickup truck, still propped up, half repaired. It was a damn miracle it was still running. You're not going to get away with this, Mom. I'm done. I've been done. I hung up. I didn't even let her say goodbye. It was a few days later, and the snow kept falling. It felt like the world was closing in around me. My truck was still half buried in snow, the heater was barely working, and the kids were walking around in mismatched socks. But I didn't care. I had made a decision. I wasn't going to be their doormat anymore. The phone buzzed again. It was Fred. His voice came through loud and clear, and he was laughing. Bro, you're not going to believe this. Deborah spilled everything online about the checks, the sharks, the whole mess. Your parents are losing it. The bank's coming for them. It's over. A wave of satisfaction washed over me. I had pulled the plug. I had done what they thought I couldn't. Good, I said, barely containing my grin. They deserve it. Fred laughed even harder. Hell yeah, man. House hit 30 degrees. Deborah's twins are in a clinic. They're toast. You're the king, Bruce. I let out a laugh. I'm not the king. I'm just a guy who's done taking the crap. January 2nd came in like a cold slap. The snow didn't stop. It was as if the universe had decided to put a lid on everything, locking down my world in a thick, frozen tomb. Meanwhile, their world was falling apart. My family was unraveling, and I couldn't bring myself to care. I was splitting logs for a fire pit in the backyard when Fred called again. His laughter was so loud it almost made me smile. Bruce, it's beautiful. I'm telling you, this meltdown is something to see. Deborah spilled the beans online about the whole thing. Checks, loan sharks, the family's losing their minds, the bank's foreclosing, trucks are gone, there's even some thugs sniffing around their place. They're done. I let out a short laugh, tossing another log onto the pile. The kids were out in the yard, sledding and laughing, their voices bright against the storm. They didn't know it, but their lives were about to be so much better. I wasn't their punching bag anymore. They're done for, I said, the satisfaction in my voice hard to hide. Fred snickered on the other end. Deborah's kids are sick. Your folks are begging for handouts. It's over. And you're free, Bruce. You nuked them. I let the log split cleanly in half, the crack echoing in the quiet yard. Let them freeze. They deserve it. Fred's voice dropped a little, serious now. Your mom's gone nuts, man. She's guilt-tripping everyone, begging cousins for cash, trying to get neighbors to lend her heaters. I swear, Bruce, they never saw it coming. I grinned as I pushed the sled up the hill for Mark. They don't deserve a thing from me. Let them figure it out. January 4th. The snow had slowed, but the panic didn't. It hung thick in the air. I was at the roadhouse with Logan, sipping coffee, when my phone buzzed again. Deborah, Bruce, my twins are in the clinic. You bastard. Mom, Bruce, it's unbearable. Please help. Dad, truck's gone. Fix this. I shook my head and turned my phone face down. Logan didn't miss a beat. Still crying, huh? I laughed, but it wasn't funny. They deserve it. They put us through hell. He clinked his mug against mine. You're a savage, man, but hell, they deserve it. January 7th, the day the world stopped pretending. I had the day off. The kids were at school, and I was fixing a leaky radiator when the doorbell rang. I wiped my hands on my pants and went to the door. There, standing like a ghost, was Deborah. Her hair was wild from the cold, her face pale, but something in her eyes screamed defeat. Bruce, she croaked, I need to tell you the truth. The whole truth. I didn't want to hear it, but I stepped aside, letting her into the hallway. The fire in me was still burning, but I was curious. This couldn't be a random visit. I've been carrying their weight, she whispered. The whole time. The flower shop, it wasn't my fault. They've been running a scam, forging checks, borrowing from a loan shark to cover their tracks. And they pinned it all on me, said it would destroy them if it came out. They promised me half the house when they cashed out. I played along, Bruce. I didn't know what else to do. I stared at her, feeling a coldness spread through me. I didn't know if I wanted to strangle her or let her explain. My fingers tightened around the radiator wrench I had been holding, the weight of her words sinking in. They've been milking me. I swallowed hard. No, you didn't. They used you. She nodded, her voice shaking. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to stop it, but it's over now. I'm out. I just needed you to know. I let her words sink in. Every bit of pain I'd felt over the years, all the financial strain, the emotional toll, the weight of responsibility, it was all coming together now. But it didn't make it any easier. I walked over to the window, staring out at my snow-buried pickup, the weight of the situation pressing down on my chest. I thought of the years I'd spent covering for them, of the sacrifices I'd made. 22 grand just this year. Turning to her, I exhaled slowly, my voice low but firm. You're all parasites. I'm done. She flinched. I could see it in her eyes, but there was nothing left in me to feel sympathy. I'm done, I repeated. Tell them I know. And tell the sharks while you're at it, get lost. She stepped back, her shoulders slumping, but I didn't care. I slammed the door in her face, the lock clicking into place. 3 days later, Fred called again, this time even more excited than before. Bruce, it's happening. Deborah let it slip online, everything's out there. The checks, the loans, the family's in chaos. The bank's moving in, the trucks are gone, and now they've got thugs sniffing around. I laughed. It wasn't even a real laugh, just the sound of everything clicking into place. The sharks are circling, Fred added, his voice practically dripping with glee. You exposed them. They've got nothing left. It's over. January 12th. By now, the snow was almost gone, but the chaos was still there, filling every corner of my life. I was at the community rink, watching Olivia and Mark skate, their little arms flailing like they didn't have a care in the world. My phone buzzed, but I ignored it. I didn't need to deal with their desperation. Not anymore. The messages piled up. Mom, Bruce, we're losing everything. Dad, help us. Deborah, my twins are in the clinic. I didn't respond. I just kept cheering them on as Mark took another wobbly lap around the rink. This moment was for them, not for my screwed-up family. January 15th. The phone buzzed again. Another message from Deborah. Another desperate plea from my parents. Their voices cracked through the digital wall, but I refused to acknowledge them. There was nothing left to fix. Not for them. They had crossed the line, and I wasn't about to let them drag me back in. I was sitting in my truck, parked at the edge of the community rink, watching Olivia and Mark play in the snow. They didn't know yet how bad things were. They still thought Christmas was just around the corner. They didn't know that everything had changed, that our world had flipped upside down. I needed this. To see them happy, carefree, just for a little while longer. The reality could wait. Then, a text popped up on my phone that changed everything. Fred, it's coming for them, man. Everything's crumbling. You're not gonna believe this. I swiped to open it, the feeling in my gut twisting. Fred, Deborah got on social media again. She's ranting, saying that they're losing everything, that they've been caught in the lies. The house is gone. The truck's gone. The loan sharks are closing in. It's like watching the end of a movie. I could feel the weight lift off me, but it didn't come with relief. It came with something else. A kind of cold satisfaction. The fire I'd set was doing its job. It was burning their world down, and I was watching from the sidelines. January 18th. The snow had finally slowed to a whisper. The ground was still packed under layers of frost, but the world was beginning to thaw. It felt symbolic, like everything was changing. The heaviness in the air, the suffocating weight of guilt and rage, was finally lifting. I didn't check my phone. I didn't need to. I knew what was happening. My parents' house was under foreclosure. The truck was repossessed. The flower shop Deborah tried to run into the ground was a distant memory. Her kids were sick, and the family was scrambling for cash. They had nowhere to turn. And I was free. But it wasn't just about money anymore. It wasn't about the 22 grand I'd handed over or the endless hours spent working for them. It was about something deeper, something they never saw coming. January 20th. I got a call from my old buddy Logan. His voice was shaky but laced with the kind of grim satisfaction that only someone who's been through their own brand of hell could understand. They're done, Bruce. Your parents? They're begging their friends for money. Hell, they're even going door to door. You have no idea how far down they've gone. It's humiliating. And Deborah? She's still trying to play the martyr. They all thought they could keep taking from you, that you'd always bail them out. But they're hitting rock bottom. They didn't think you'd walk away. I sat in the kitchen, the smell of coffee heavy in the air, and I let the words sink in. They didn't think I'd walk away. I hadn't just taken away their lifeline. I'd taken their ability to guilt me, to manipulate me, to make me feel like the bad guy for finally setting boundaries. They're calling in all their favors, Bruce, Logan continued. Even the people who owed them money? They're walking away. It's like they're being cut off from every side, and there's no one left to turn to. I couldn't help but smile. I wasn't the one who had torn their lives apart. They'd done that themselves. They just never realized it until it was too late. January 22nd. I was back in the warehouse, unloading pallets of firewood. My body ached in places I didn't even know existed. The work was hard, but it gave me something to focus on. I had stopped looking at my phone. I didn't need to hear the news. I already knew the script. But then, the phone buzzed again. It was Mom. Mom, Bruce, you need to come back. Please, it's getting worse. The house, everything. Deborah's kids are sick. The truck is gone. We have nothing. I don't know what to do anymore. Please, this isn't how it was supposed to go. I stared at the message for a long time. The guilt, the anger, the years of sacrifices for them, were all still there, swirling inside me. But it wasn't enough anymore. Not when I knew how easily they would have thrown me and my kids away for their own convenience. I typed a response. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't cruel. It was cold, calculated, just like I needed it to be. Bruce, you made your choice. I'm not coming back. You're on your own now. This is on you. I hit send, set the phone down, and walked back to work. I didn't look back. January 25th. The snow was mostly gone now, leaving behind a cold, wet landscape that felt just as hollow as I did. I'd taken the kids to the park, their laughter a welcome distraction from the endless messages piling up on my phone. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had done the right thing. I didn't need them. They needed me, but not in the way they thought. They needed me to stop being their punching bag, to stop being their cash cow. And once I cut them off, the freedom was overwhelming. As I watched Olivia and Mark play, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. I had given them everything they needed. And now, for the first time, I was doing something for myself. February 1st. Everything had changed, but I wasn't sure what was left. The weight of the past month was still there, pressing down on me. The phone calls, the lies, the betrayal. But now, the silence. Mom hadn't called. Deborah hadn't reached out. Dad had left a couple of voicemails, but I didn't listen to them. I didn't need to. I knew what they wanted, and I wasn't going back. I had the kids, and that was all that mattered now. Part 5, the final act. February 10th. It was a normal night when the phone rang again. I knew what it was before I even picked it up. It was Deborah. Her voice cracked as soon as I answered. Bruce, I'm sorry. I didn't know they were going to do this to you, but it's all falling apart. I just wanted to tell you, they're not going to make it without you. I paused for a moment, letting the weight of her words sink in. Then I shook my head, smiling bitterly. No, Deborah, they'll make it. They'll figure it out. They always do. But me? I'm done. I'm not going back. You should have thought about that before you kicked me and my kids out. She went silent, and I ended the call. I had made my choice, and it felt like freedom.